Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. We've got game 3 of 4 coming at you live here. Starladder Season 8, Day 21 coverage resumes. Flipside RU now going to be facing off against the QPad Red Pandas. Yet another battle of the stand-ins here. Cinderin has both teams rocking 2 of the stand-ins. At least we'll recognize some of those names. Villic and SLHZ going to be on the side of QPad. And we saw SLHZ yesterday. And he was on the Marana, right? The guy that was nailing all those arrows?
I think he was playing Wind Ranger against TR.
Oh, the Wind Ranger, yeah. He still played well. He played well. That's what I'm
He
getting
definitely
at.
played well. That was a really odd game, I have to say, though, if you don't remember it from yesterday. That was a strange game, and hopefully this gets I wouldn't say hopefully it gets a little more structured, because I like watching chaotic games, but to be fair, that game just had a lot of misplays from especially from TR. They seemed, like we said, like a different team in that matchup. But Flipside Tactics, the Russian division, of course, here have not been doing too well in this tournament, but what I really like about them is that they've had some in some matches where they go in as the underdogs, they're not afraid to try some different things. And to be fair, the rest of this tournament is kind of irrelevant for both of these teams as far as going to the playoffs. Of course, they would like to get the best scores possible, but these two teams are actually the bottom 2 of the scores right now. Flipside is 2-9, and QPad are 3-7. So it's place number 15 versus place number 16 right now. So kind of just fighting for the honor of maybe avoiding last place. I'm not sure what Starladder's rules are for who gets dropped down a division. That's something we have to think about as well, of course, is for next season, for Starladder Season 8, I believe the bottom 4 will have to fight with the top 4 of Starladder Pro Series or something like that to stay in the tournament, or something along those lines.
I thought it was bottom 2. It might be.
Is it only bottom 2? It could be. I'm not sure. I'm throwing it out there because we've had 18 teams this time, so I was imagining it would be more teams rotating around.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Regardless, these teams definitely... Actually, this is an important game in its own right because of that. Yes. They need to fight for survival in the tournament to get into Season 9 without having to go through a qualifier, which I suppose neither team is interested in. I guess you never want to go through a qualifier if you can stay in the tournament, of course, or get invited.
Yes.
So,
you know what? I think they upped it to bottom 3. I'm looking at the way the colors are set up, and I think it's bottom 3. But remember, 4FC and Aspera have disbanded, so that is 2 of the bottom 3 slots already taken away. So it's really just a fight to not be dead last. And these are actually the 2 teams in the lowest position. 3-7 on QPad and 2-9 on Flipside. So you're right. It is still a big match for sure.
In its own right. I mean, still, of course, it's not one of the matches that we're going to think, okay, this will decide something as far as the top goes, but in a way, this is a more important match than the matches between the middle of the field, where it's kind of just a fight for honor. This time it actually has more than that in terms of its meaning. So I'm expecting both teams to really do their best here to try and provide a good game and try to avoid getting knocked down into the Pro Series for next season. And, well, at least the way it looks right now, QPad have been trying to rebuild their roster quite a bit. So I'm assuming they will try to reach some sort of stability to compete with in Season 9 with a stable roster that plays a lot more together. And the same for Flipside. I've seen a couple of stand-ins for them recently, and maybe they are doing some rotations as well, so maybe both teams will be stable for Season 9. We're going to have to wait and see for that. Of course, that's in quite a while. So, as far as the draft goes, Visage and OD, I believe QPad had both of those heroes yesterday against TR, actually, exactly in the same order. So they're sticking to their guns.
Yeah, exactly right here. So, well, we'll see how the rest of the draft is going to unfold. Razor has been banned out for QPad, so, sorry, I was a little bit distracted. I had to tab out for a moment there. So, yeah, moving onward here. Yeah, Doom going to be banned out for QPad. So this is looking like a pretty solid OD game. 2 of those big counters to OD are off the field. So QPandas is off to a pretty good start here with this draft. Now going to grab the Marana, and we'll see what they want to do with that other support. Bane, always an option here whenever you have that Marana to grab their 4th pick. But we'll see.
And this is Luna for Flipside, so they've got their own carry now, and the Timbersaw will hopefully not be going mid against OD. We've seen that in the past, and that is not an enjoyable experience for a Timbersaw. So, not really the ideal lane to put mid, and you always need to keep in mind when you give an OD away, how do you deal with it? It's that kind of pick that you just can't ignore. You can't be like, yeah, sure, that's a good hero, we'll find a way around it. You need a hero that stands against it, or a dual lane. If you just put something, like in the last game, they were like, okay, it's an OD, we're gonna put a puck against it. That's not gonna go well. And QPad have an advantage because of that with the OD pickup, and Flipside kind of have to adapt, but there are still good heroes in the pool for him to do that. The Kunkka, obviously one of the normal heroes to put against it. They have the potential of running a dual lane with the Crystal Maiden if they want to. What else can we think of that goes well against OD? The Viper is still in the pool as well, and yeah, maybe even another one that I'm forgetting. So the counters are still there. The question is if it fits Flipside's strategy here.
Yeah, absolutely right. So a lot of options here. Plenty of time. Both sides taking their time. Burning some of that bonus time.
Alright, no problem. Yeah, sure. So QPad will be perhaps grabbing their second support here. Of course, they do have Visage. I'm not assuming it's going to be a support Mirana. That's kind of unusual, does get played sometimes, but I would think something maybe along the lines of Shadow Demon could work for the QPad Red Pandas, or the Bane, like you pointed out. And it's going to be the Shadow Demon that they grab as their fourth pick. Good setup for the Mirana. This is exactly the tri-lane we saw in the last game. Who was it that ran that last game? That was OSG that got run over by PR's tri-lane. This exact tri-lane, as a matter of fact. And maybe QPad will be looking to go on the aggressive against Luna. Luna is a hero that is kind of weak to this kind of lane. She doesn't have much health. She doesn't have any repositioning skill. So if she does get caught in that disruption into arrow combo, you can be pretty sure she's pretty dead in that lane. So would like to see QPad doing that. Alternatively, Flipside might be doing some different lanes. Luna can actually stand fairly well against OD in the mid because of her high base damage with the aura, as well as, yeah, a decent attack animation to go with it. So she can fight somewhat toe-to-toe with OD. Probably not win the lane, but at least do decently. We'll see what their plan is.
Yes, and I'm back. Thank you for that. So yeah, a pretty solid setup for QPad, and I'm really starting to like the Shadow Demon. You know, he was a hero that when he first started getting more and more popularity recently, I was sort of skeptical that, does he really fit into our meta? But he's really been working pretty well, and this is now the third of 3 games today where we'll see Shadow Demon as well as OD on the same side, again with that sort of double banish, for lack of a better term, that sort of odd state that you get put in with the Disruption and the Astral. And so far, it's been successful. I believe it's been the winning strategy in the last 2 games. So we'll see if it'll work again here for the QPad Red Pandas.
What we always need to keep in mind when we do stats like that is also it was to be fair the 2 favorite teams that ran it.
Yes,
so.
Fair enough. Fair to mention.
Always remember that. I'm not sure who's the favorite here. I mean, going into it just stat-wise, Flipside has 1 more win than QPad does. But QPad did win against TR yesterday, so maybe they've got some momentum. And yeah, these 2 teams have kind of been fighting to get a few wins here, so I'm not really going to say that Flipside is the favorite by having 1 more win. I don't think that's fair, especially not with all the stand-in rotations. It's kind of hard to really say which team is exactly which, as it hasn't been the same during the whole tournament. But the Viper is going to get banned out by QPad, so they are acknowledging yeah, that's right, they're acknowledging the problem that they could be having with this OD mid, but I'm assuming Flipside will actually choose to put the Nyx Assassin mid. He will lose the lane horribly like you do against OD, but he will get levels and have an impact later on in the game to try to deal with OD, which is at least some sort of, some sort of utility for the mid game. Clockwork, very, very good pick here as well.
Yeah. Always a great pick, and in that 5th slot, a good bit of initiation here for QPad. And very curious what Flipside want to do with this final pick. I know you mentioned Kunkka earlier as a potential option to try and deal with this. But, yeah, Nyx, I guess, could go mid, but really doesn't fare so well against the OD.
To be fair, very few heroes do. Yeah. And TA!
TA, interesting.
TA, this is an interesting thing, because I remember TA, once the refraction went up to 100 mana cost when that happened in that patch. TA was kind of the queen of mid. and then got nerfed on Refraction, and OD started becoming one of the counters to TA simply by removing her mana pool so she couldn't use Refraction. But the last couple of times I've seen TA against OD, she actually does surprisingly well, because to my memory, this is a lane that OD wins. But I've seen more and more TAs, by bottle crowing effectively, by playing smartly in the lane, have been able to keep up with OD, and even in some cases win the lane, which to me is a mystery, but maybe I'm just misunderstanding something here about the potential of the lane, but well, it could work. I mean, yeah. The recent history has proven that TA can actually stand against OD.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Kunkka OD matchup a little bit, where in a vacuum, OD still wins the lane. But if it's a very skilled Kunkka player, just the nature of his non-mana based harass can allow him to take a little bit of lane pressure, and like you mentioned, with effective crowing, maybe a little bit of luck with those runes and some support with said rune control can definitely overpower OD. And I think TA is sort of in a similar state, where she has the tools needed to at least give him a run for his money, but you have to have someone who's a very experienced TA player. And, you know, like I said, maybe a little bit of luck. But I absolutely agree with you. It is possible. And unfortunately, we're going to have a remake here. So, looks like we can hold that thought as we hopping into a new game.
Yep, ready to join in here. I'm not sure what just happened, but they wrote need remake, sorry. So maybe some sort of connection issue. Maybe they bought 4 couriers or something. But we're definitely going to have a remake. I don't think that's a valid remake reason anymore. I remember in the past that sometimes teams actually got a remake because they bought 2 couriers. Now it's just considered too bad you made a mistake.
Yeah, you know,
that's the way it should.
The worst I ever had was when I was still casting Han, and there was a player that grabbed Enigma, whatever the Enigma equivalent's name is in Han, and instead of skilling the Eidolons, he got the stun, he got the Malefice first, and he paused and said, yeah, we need a remake, I got the wrong skill. And I couldn't believe that the other team actually obliged that. It's like, dude, that is not a reason for a remake. You just had to deal with it. That's part of the game. It's
like saying 20 minutes in, oh shit, I used Black Hole instead of Malefice, can we load?
Yeah, can we just have a do-over here? So, yeah.
One-on-one in the river, please.
Lag issues are one of the few things that I think are okay for a remake, because, you know, sometimes you get a bad server. That's legit. But yeah, I'm really not sympathetic with, oh crap, I bought 2 couriers. Sorry, it's the nature of the game. You know, you don't get a redo if you're playing football and you fumble on the first play just because it's the first play. You know, it's. But
yeah, that's very much true, and I think the tournaments have been good at stepping up with that, because to be honest, Dota is being a lot more professional now than it used to. It used to be a little bit more loose with what happened, because people were kind of course they were playing to win, but there wasn't as much on the line, as much pride and as much professionalism revolving around the game. But now we're kind of reaching a state where people are really playing to win, and it's important to win, and the prize money and the whole sponsorship part of the game is getting much more relevant. So
yes.
People have definitely been stepping up their game and stepping up their preparation and work to become stronger teams and players. So, can totally understand that. Now, we are going to go into the game, and I'm curious about your opinion on this. If QPad runs an aggressive tri-lane with Mirana, Shadow Demon, and Visage against the potential easy lane of Flipside with Crystal Maiden, Nyx, and Luna, and it's a Timbersaw offlane against the Clockwork, do you think QPad could win all 3 lanes? Because if that's what happens, I actually think QPad will have a huge advantage just 10 minutes in. I think their lanes are just flat out better.
Yes and no, and some of it has to do with that Shadow Demon and Mirana combo. If it was a Bane, I would say absolutely that Try could take a victory here. It's just a little bit more difficult to coordinate the Shadow Demon disruption with the Sacred Arrow, though certainly possible. That tri-lane, I think, is going to come down to execution on both sides, because there's a lot of aggression. I mean, Flipside have a lot of crowd control as well. I think this is going to be one of these matchups that comes down to execution more so than some sort of a real drafting advantage, as less the outlier of the mid lane, where, you know, TA versus OD, another one that I think is going to come down more so to execution. But in that situation, OD has a pretty clear advantage. But, yeah, I guess we'll see. If it's tri-lane on tri-lane, I really don't know who's going to come out on top. I think it's going to be more about who can find the better of the initiating, and if Mirana can get those arrows off.
I just feel like QPad has an innate advantage on this top lane by being triple ranged hero that all have longer range than Luna.
Yeah.
And the supports for Flipside are a melee Nyx Assassin and a Crystal Maiden who has good range and solid harassment, of course, but we'll actually see if she even goes there. They might be dodging this lane. I like the laning decision-making here from Flipside. They're trying to avoid getting the Luna contested by putting her offlane together with the Crystal Maiden. They're hoping that QPad is doing what it seems like they are. And Timbersaw will be actually even hard pressed on this lane as well. If you're one hero against this lane, it's going to be hard. Nyx Assassin is there, but regardless of who gets caught by this combo, he will die. The other one cannot save him in this kind of lane. But
yeah,
we're gonna see. I'm still worried for Flipside though. If the supports from QPad rotate correctly to this bottom lane, I don't think Luna can farm here either.
Yeah, and they're already going to start things off a little bit differently here. I guess it's a good time to introduce our rosters. On the Radiant side, we do have the QPad Red Pandas, QPanda, as they're tagged up here. SLHZ going to be their stand-in here in the bottom lane on the OD, so it will be a solo safe lane OD. In the mid, it will be Villic playing on the Clockwork, and then they will send this tri-lane long lane. RMN going to be on the Visage, Blue Banana going to be on the Mirana, and of course, Durham going to be on the Shadow Demon supporting as well. Looks like he will be headed up to the top. Now, let's see how Flipside RU are going to handle this. They are going to put Luna in the long lane here down bottom, going to be played by Enlight. So going to be up against the OD to start things off. Looks like Sheasley's going to be on his way down, playing on the Crystal Maiden. Does have a double damage rune on already, so maybe they can put a little bit of harassment onto that OD. That means it's going to be a TA versus the Clockwork mid, and TA going to be played by Throwfail. Not sure who that is, and we'll hold that thought because down in the bottom, Sheasley going to rotate in. Has not skilled an ability yet, so did not have Frostbite ready. And, well, I guess they're not going to go for the kill. I would have thought if he went Frostbite and Luna had, well, doesn't have Lucent Beam, they might be able to set up a kill with the double damage, just because double damage is so potent at these early levels. But I guess they're not going to go for it. Meanwhile, in the top lane, though, Bulk in a little bit of trouble. Wow, that's going to be an easy first blood. So I guess you were right about this one, Cinder, and this tri-lane from the QPandas going to be very potent, and they will grab that kill on Nyx Assassin, played by Bulk. And, of course, their other stand-in, Yautzin, going to be on the Timbersaw.
And this is looking good for QPad already. I'm just puzzled as to why they put the OD in the easy lane and the Clockwork mid instead of vice versa. I'm not sure what the reasoning is. Clockwork is okay against TA, by all means, but I think OD would be doing better and definitely be getting more farm than he is in this bottom lane against the two ranged heroes. Of course, maybe QPad were expecting it to be a solo offlane Timbersaw who OD does very well against, but so does Clockwork, to be honest. He does okay, at least, right in the start. And I think getting the farm on the OD would be more important. But hard to tell what they were expecting. At least they can feel happy to get that first blood up top. And importantly about this, they get level 2 on Visage, and that's what you always want to have fast. These two supports together, both Shadow Demon and Visage, very level dependent. It's actually Clock. What?
I totally...
That's a solo kill here on the TA. Did not see that coming. He might pay for it here as Nyx has a haste rune. He's just going to keep running past him.
Yeah, there's the Impale. And I think Villic should fall right here. Bulk doesn't do a lot of damage at this early level, but haste rune should make this a pretty easy finish here. And yeah, he comes in and makes it at least a 1-for-1 in the mid. But I did not catch any of that engage in the middle. I just never would have thought a TA would die to a solo Clockwork like that. So very unfortunate. But down in the bottom, actually, OD taking a good bit of harassment here. The Frostbite into the Lucent Beam. Although this tri-lane up top for the QPandas has been going well, you're exactly right about this OD not getting much. He's 3-0 in creep score compared to the 13-4 Luna down here. So a very big disparity between those two. And OD, man, he can't farm. He can't get close to the creeps without Sheasley throwing out a Frostbite.
This defeats the purpose of picking OD. That's the biggest problem about it. This is a hero that you pick to win a lane. Or to get a free farm lane and win because of that. But right now, in the position he's in, he's actually... Oh, no mana on Crystal Maiden. Now she gets her intelligence back. That was actually really close to getting scary for SLHC there, but... I don't know. I think QPad were simply expecting an offlane Timbersaw and kind of got tricked here by Flipside, and they haven't adapted to it. They're still letting OD play down here alone, and if you keep an OD in a bad lane like this, 3 CS at 3.5 minutes, this is one of the worst heroes in the game without farm.
Yeah.
It's just flat out, its entire kit is based around winning a lane and getting good farm, and there's just nothing coming the way of him. So
yeah,
he's gonna need some help.
Yeah, in the last match we talked about how he's a hero that, although does a lot of damage, isn't very mobile and really needs either a mech or a force staff, one of those core items to start things off to give him that survivability, whether it's the mech for that heal and that little bit of tank ability, or if it's the mobility choice with the force staff. It's going to be really a long time coming before he's going to be able to grab either of those items, and that's going to make things very, very difficult. A hero that, as you mentioned, will quickly turn from an asset to a liability, as he does get harassed once again by this Crystal Maiden. And I think almost more importantly than OD not getting much farm down here, Luna almost in free farm heaven. I mean, Enlight has a pretty good creep score here at the 4-minute mark, 21-8. Not too shabby to get things rolling. So he is really off to a good start. And TA on a similar note, although did concede that early kill, or early death, pardon me, 21-9 compared to the 7-6 Clockwork. So still kind of winning this lane fairly handily on the net worth chart, still up by a pretty large margin.
Certainly, they got the the first blood even went to QPad, and they're still behind by 500 gold already, while being 1 kill and a first blood ahead at 4 minutes. So really goes to show how much these lanes are being won right now by Flipside Russia here. And finally, we get the rotation I was hoping for QPad here. They have rotated down the Shadow Demon as well as the Visage to open up for OD to catch up. This was very, very needed, and they have to make sure he gets farmed the next 5 minutes at least to have an impact on this game. Meanwhile, mid lane, Villic is going to get ganked here by the Nyx. Nice blocking off the hookshot here. Might still actually survive here. I think he will.
Nyx
and even turn around on Buick.
Wow, yeah, they're going to try and finish him off. Visage going to come in, and that'll finish him off. But now, throw fail on that TA. Going to be able to press forward. He's got to commit to it now. Down he goes, but he's going to get blocked in by the creeps. This is going to be bad news for the Templar Assassin. Nowhere to go. Is going to be able to get off the meld.
But also no true sight.
But, yeah, no true sight, just out of range of the tower. Unfortunately, does not have a TP, though. Will sip the bottle, now looking for somewhere to move. Going to get blocked in by Durham, and still going to meld once again. This is a really awkward spot for the TA. Of course, they know exactly where he is, but nothing that they can do about it quite yet. The courier coming in. Is there going to be a sentry? Yeah, he's got a sentry down here. They're going to throw it, and now TA going to be in big trouble. They'll wait for Villic to get back so that he can have a little bit of extra experience and gold coming his way. He's actually going to grab the kill, so a fair bit of gold coming his way here. And they will clean it up. Now going to be 4-2. So the QPandas going to grab a recovery kill in the mid lane, but still TA actually the leading farmer on net worth despite that untimely death.
I think that was totally worth it for TA as well. He got the kill on the Clockwork first, so got his level 7, and then he effectively wasted the support's time for a whole minute. They were just standing there. Because if one of them leaves, she might be able to escape with Refraction, so they kind of had to stick together there, and that opens up the map. If the two supports are in mid, and you know they're in mid, you can take advantages somewhere else. So because of that, Flipside do get farm on the Luna down the bottom lane, do get some rotations going now, and might be able to perhaps pick up a kill on SLHZ. Wow, this is so hard to say. Can we call him something? Can we call him Slash or something?
Slash,
down in the bottom lane.
Very curious what that name stands for, but it is a mouthful. Those letters do not flow.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so he's still struggling on the farm, though. 15-3 compared to the 33-12 Luna. I guess it's better than it was. He was sitting at that 3 CS mark for quite a while, but still not even close to where the OD wants to be. And, of course, the TA back in lane, continuing to rack up farm. Looks like Visage trying to find a new home here. RMN is rotating around, was in the mid, now going to move his way bottom, so going to try and help out the OD a little bit, perhaps. Although SLHZ is now out of mana. Luna level 5. This is that point where the Lucent Beams really start to hurt, and he's going to have Eclipse before too long. And if OD is not careful, and Light and Sheasley will be able to take him down if he steps too far forward, especially if creeps aren't around. Up top, Bulk hiding by the trees here, looking like he may want to set something up. A kill on the Mirana would be good for Flipside. She's the really leading farmer here for QPad. The only one farming well for that matter.
Radiant's middle tower.
But it's going to be a very hard kill to get now that Timber Source level 6, because the way they need to commit, getting the combo off a Nyx Assassin is actually really hard when he has Spite Carapace leveled up, because when you disrupt an arrow, since it's an instant cast, it's really hard to land the combo so that Mirana doesn't take the arrow damage and get stunned herself from the Carapace. And if Nyx gets that off, it doesn't happen.
Hook shot by Villic onto the Crystal Maiden. Will secure the kill, but I think Villic going to pay for it with his life. TA going to be able to track him down, and yeah, that'll end up being an easy kill. So not the exchange the Clockwork was hoping for, I'm sure. TA going to get a kill, and of course, well, just a kill on that Crystal Maiden. Not the exchange he was hoping for. Now Luna going to have a double damage rune. We'll move into the Radiant jungle here. Going to be scattered out by Visage. Up top. Oh, yeah, there it is. Timbersaw taking some damage here. Now is he going to be able to Timber Chain away. Low on mana, but does have a wand. Does have some poison on him. Bulk not going to connect with the Impale, and Timbersaw is going to fall. One last arrow from Mirana. That is going to be a kill going the way of the QPandas. Now Bulk going to be in trouble. A Sacred Arrow flies. A double kill now coming out for Blue Banana. Mirana going to take over that leading seat on the net worth chart.
Two very important kills for them. As at least they're compensating for the lack of farm by getting kills everywhere. So they're taking a lead in the game simply based off kills. And considering the start that Flipside actually did have with these lanes, I think this is going well for QPad. Even though it's not too big of an advantage, when you look at it and you're like, wow, 7-3, QPad must be leading really hard, which they aren't. At least they're leading. It could have gone a lot worse, I feel, with how the initial laning phase played out. So some good rotations and plays coming out from them, and perhaps most importantly of all out of this, QPad's supports are getting high levels. The two supports on Flipside are level 4, On QPad, we've got level 6 Shadow Demon, level 5 Visage, and this 6 Shadow Demon is going to be put to use right away. Demonic Purge in the mid onto TA, under a Sentry Ward as well. She is not actually going to die. They didn't have enough damage to bring her down, and TP support from Buick. Oh, almost there on that Soul Assumption. Not enough.
Yeah, TA gonna make it out, and that was very unfortunate for the QPandas. That should have been a kill, I think, especially with the sentry down as well. They had pretty much everything they needed to secure that kill, and that sort of shows the momentum that TA's been able to pick up. Does have power treads as well as that Wraith Band and an upgraded magic wand, so she has a little bit of survivability to her, and it will be displayed for us there in the mid lane as she does make it out. Up in the top, though, Blue Banana in some trouble, and Light and Sheasley gonna make a rotation. I don't think they're gonna have enough to finish her, though. The leap comes out, and Mirana gonna be able to make it back to safety. And not an Eclipse used there by Light. Just going to throw a Lucent Beam. They will harass her back. I like this rotation from Flipside now that Luna's got a little bit of momentum. Power Treads, Basilius, as well as the Ogre Club. They're just going to try and contest this Mirana and let Light soak up some farm here in the safe lane. And now they're going to throw Timbersaw down in the bottom to deal with this OD, who's actually made a pretty good recovery. OD now 36-9. Not too shabby on the net worth chart. Has moved his way up to number 4. So SLHZ has
mid lane, Clockwork with haste. I don't know if he wants to be taking this fight, to be honest.
Yeah.
There comes the help, though.
Yep. Now TA going to be in some trouble. Going to try and finish off Villic. That one last auto attack won't be enough. Is Villic going to survive? No, he is not. Blue Banana going to come in as well. Not going to need the Starstorm to finish him off. Villic going to use that hook shot, that haste rune, making things pretty easy. Arrow going to fly. Will not connect with the Crystal Maiden, though. They may still choose to pursue Sheasley. Now they're going to let him get away. So they're going to grab another kill. The QPandas now all of a sudden, and then the laning phase was looking a little bit grim, but not only has OD recovered, but they've got a sizable lead here. 1,500 gold, about 3,000 experience, and might be able to treat themselves to this tier 1 tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is the time for Timbersaw to start making some action. He got a good start out of the way they put the lanes, and now he needs to kind of pay it back to his team. He's level 8 at 11 minutes, which is perfectly fine for Timbersaw, so would love to see him now getting active with his hero. This arrow not gonna really do anything.
Thought they were gonna follow up there, but
Blue Banana, what's he doing?
Wow, he is
really
in an awkward
out of
spot
position here, getting very greedy. And sentries are not available, but he might still. No, they don't have anything.
Sheasley path blocking him
really
here.
Odd play.
Yeah, that was an odd spot to go in. That's a good word for it. He will survive, but that will burn the Moonlight Shadow. Fortunately, no sentries, like you mentioned. So 8-3 here. So looking as Flipside are starting to fall behind at a ever-increasing rate, it seems. Goldgraph now 3,000 in the favor of QPandas as they do take out that mid-tier 1 tower. What do they need to do here? How can they get that Goldgraph swinging back in their favor?
With Timbersaw as well as Nyx Assassin. Nyx is going to get level 6 top now.
Yeah,
that will hopefully allow him to set up for a kill, maybe even on the Clockwork that he's right next to here. But the Rocket is going to spot him out, I believe. I think he saw that now. Is going to just TP to the bottom lane, maybe get a setup here on the OD. Does have a Clarity to use, very nicely done here. Used the Clarity right into Vendetta, so he does have the mana, but I think Slash is going to be aware of what's coming his way right now. With it was a little bit too obvious. I think they saw the TP out even from the Nyx Assassin, so he's standing very defensively with all the heroes missing on the map. And
yep.
Timber and Nyx just can't seem to catch any kills here, and it's a problem when you make a draft like this where you get some killer heroes like this and they just don't really get into play yet. Crystal Maiden as well has 1 assist at 13 minutes. They just haven't been able to find the openings they were hoping for.
Yep. And another one going to be thwarted here. That's basically a wasted Clarity and a wasted Vendetta cooldown. So, like you said, anytime those ganks don't pay off, that does cost the flip side quite a bit, as that is what these heroes do bring to the table. In the mid, looks like they may try and converge on Visage. Yeah, he's trying to get level 6. Once those birds, he's going to try and port out, but I don't think he's going to make it. Certainly not. TA going to burst him down, and that will be an easy kill. Also going to shut him down before... Oh, he did grab level 6. Okay, one of those creeps died. So I was going to say, oh, even better. They kill him before level 6, slowing down those familiars, but still going to send him back to the grave before the familiars can come out. So a nice kill there for Flipside. Though, up in the top, going to open up some room for that top tier 1 tower to take some heavy damage. Durham and Blue Banana will be able to finish it off, I think. And Flipside just going to take this opportunity to move into the Roche Pit. Now, let's look at the warding situation. Very few wards out on the map in general right now, but nothing for the Radiant side. The Rocket does come in, will scout it out, so they know exactly what's going on at this point. And now Flipside have to make an executive decision. Do they want to commit, or do they want to back out? Whoa, the hookshot going to be off the mark. Moonlight Shadow already been used. It'll expire here in just a couple of seconds. Villic going to be in some trouble. Maybe should have waited for the team on this one as he comes in. Arrow does connect on Sheasley from quite the ways away. They're going to poke forward here. Luna going to burn the Eclipse. That'll be a dead Shadow Demon as well as a dead Clockwork. Crystal Maiden does end up falling in the end, but still a great exchange for the flip side, and they're just going to move back into the Roche pit. Now I think they can finish it off, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Second arrow flying in.
Oh, going to be off the mark once again. And that's going to be the Aegis going the way of Templar Assassin. Dyer did indeed get the last hit. So a nice victory there. That gold graph going to start to move back down their way a little bit here. And always good to have an Aegis on the TA.
As well as a Blink Dagger.
Oh, yeah.
Important pickup here. That's it's going to be very nice for him to have that against a hero like Clockwork, because the way fights will often develop is that Clockwork will hook in on one of TA's allies, and she can actually just blink into the cog and blow him up if she wants to. Will deal so much damage with that now acquired level 4 meld, and perhaps even spill onto the teammates of the Clockwork from inside the cogs, which is maybe a little bit unlikely, but still, having the Blink Dagger here should be a very, very important pickup in allowing them to take their fights, especially since they have a team that's really good at initiating, going in and starting fights off with both the Timbersaw as well as the Nyx. However, it is going to be Villic starting up the fight up top. I think he's going to immediately regret his decision right here.
Yeah. Looking to maybe
and Durham, wow, they're actually just running in the Shadow Demon. Might be giving away another kill here. Timbersaw following through.
He's going to hop forward. There's the Chakram, Frost Nova. Easy kill on the Shadow Demon. Not sure what the mindset was there. Just a misplay. I think that's the only way that you can label it. Popping too far forward, and down he goes. Clockwork hoping to at least make it a 1-for-1, as he did try and engage on Sheasley, but didn't find it. And now, flip side, we'll just press forward, and I think they're going to be able to grab this top tier 1 tower. Going to make for an easy push. The glyph comes out straight away. TA actually with an illusion. Going to come around the side here. May scout out Blue Banana. Arrow going to fly. Does connect onto the Timbersaw. And Blue Banana pokes forward, but the positioning from TA going to be going to prove very effective here. But what does TA want to do? Is going to meld. And we'll just blink backwards to safety, but does zone out the team to open up a little bit of room for the rest of Flipside. They will back off, though. They don't commit to the tower. Bolt going to be in big trouble here. The sentry comes down just in case he wants to try to Vendetta away. He'll fall. Another arrow going to fly. Will be off the mark, but OD going to grab that kill. And OD really has made a great recovery here. Now he's a contender in that top 4 slot on the net worth chart, nipping at the heels of that Luna TA as well as the Mirana. So things still continuing to look pretty solid for QPandas. They do defend that tower, and now it looks like they want to counter push themselves.
Yeah, OD got a lot of free time. It's what he needed, so can't really blame him for not contributing too much to the game so far. That was his first kill he just showed up for right then, so until then has kind of been very solid on the bottom lane, just getting back in the game with his farm, but now with the 4-staff as well as Nova Club, looking good.
Yeah, Villic going to hook shot forward, will connect with the Crystal Maiden, going to secure a pretty easy kill. TA did throw a little bit of harass back out his way, but not going to have enough damage to finish him off, so QPandas will just snake their way into another kill on that poor squishy support known as Crystal Maiden.
And maybe try to put some pressure on the mid-tier too. I don't think they can actually do this, and it could even turn out to be a mistake if they try. They do have Sanity's Eclipse available though, but a good initiation here from Nyx Assassin, or even the TA can actually perhaps initiate if she does it right here. Might be able to set up for a fight. He has the Aegis.
Yep, he certainly does. The tower taking a lot of damage, and there he is. He's going to hop forward. Will get Astral just about right away. Still a very slow engage here. OD coming forward. There's the Sanity's Eclipse. Sheasley going to be in some trouble. Crystal Maiden is going to fall, but it is going to cost him a Clockwork. There's the Eclipse coming from the Luna. Not going to do a lot of damage to heroes. Will clip some of those creeps, but not going to do much else besides that. OD in big trouble. Will try and port out, but that's not going to be successful. BKB from Luna is going to be used here. Aegis still up on the Templar Assassins. Not the fight that the QPandas wanted to take. Under that tower, they did trade, well, 2 of their non-supports in exchange for just the Crystal Maiden. So I think Flipside going to be pretty happy with that.
Timbersaw is really starting to do work now. This is what I was looking for a few minutes back. That Timber became a force in these fights. And in these fights, he's landing all the chakrams very well, doing a lot of damage with the Timber Chain as well.
Yep.
And if he's allowed to do that, QPad just, they can't tank this yet. They don't have the items or the right lineup to take these amounts of damage. As a matter of fact, they're all pretty squishy apart from the Clockwork, so need to be careful with how greedy they go. I didn't really expect QPad to be able to take that fight at the tier 2, and they certainly weren't.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, they could be happy they only lost a 2-for-1 there, because that could have even gone worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a thought, and it just escaped me. I had it, and I lost it here. So we'll just get on with what's happening.
We'll let the action on bottom lane talk right now. I think Villic.
Yep, Villic going to be some. Oh, the Impale going to be off the mark as they do smoke forward. Moonlight Shadow comes out, and that may ensure his survival. But now they're going to reinitiate. Bulk actually taking a lot of damage. The Rocket, He will turn, and I think Boolk going to survive. TA going to blink forward, very aggressive. They don't have the detection here. Oh, there it is. They do actually have a sentry down. TA will get put into the Astral, and now maybe in a little bit of trouble. Mech's going to come out from QPad, and they're looking for this TA. Are they going to find him? Indeed they will. They're going to chase him down. Rocket comes. That'll be a kill onto the TA. Now, of course, he still had the Aegis. It will pop back up, but I think they're going to be able to grab another kill here, perhaps. The blink out will hop over the tree line, but Villic standing there ready and waiting. Did have a dust as well, so now Throwfail going to be in big trouble. Meld not going to be enough to save him. Crowd controls to keep him down, and that's going to be the end of the TA. A great exchange there for the QPandas, and that Moonlight Shadow helping to find the reset. Even though they did put the sentry down, still, they did back out of range at least once or twice there. And support came in as well. Another convincing fight.
At the same time, though, Luna will be claiming the top tier 1 tower, and maybe Flipside will be looking to defend this tower. Luna can TP in with a BKB on. Nyx Assassin is in position. Now they are going to forfeit this one.
Yeah.
But if Cube had overextended again, now this could be a fight.
They'll see Boolk. He is going to go into Vendetta. They're going to throw down another sentry here. They could try and bait with that Vendetta a little bit, but they're not going to do it. Luna going to grab a double damage rune up top, so this could actually end up being a good opportunity if the QPandas continue to press forward, but no, they will retreat, and I think that's definitely the right call here. Really want to avoid a repeat of what happened in the mid lane just a few moments ago. And this gold graph kind of all over the place. And a really even game. Experience graph has been up and down, now going back the way of QPandas, and gold just about leveled out. Only 1,000 advantage for QPandas. Really not too much, and that little lead about to dissipate here as Flipside will take out that mid-tier 1 tower. So as tower exchanging just about even, a 1 tower advantage for QPad, things will start to even out. Roche not going to be out for a little while here, so we'll see what Flipside want to do. They've been stacking this Ancients a little bit.
Yeah, what's concerning for QPad right now is exactly how much this Luna is getting. I don't feel like QPad's lineup has incredible counters to Luna late game. They actually have some decent ones. They'll probably get a Hex on the OD, and Mirana being a longer range carry can obviously also take the fight to Luna somewhat, but just innately the way the hero works and the amount of farm and Light has got, as well as 3 kills and 2 tower last hits that he just got, he should be well ahead on the net worth. He's 1,000 ahead of the Mirana, whose current score is 4-0 as well.
Yeah.
So Luna definitely the big moneymaker on the map right now, is getting close to Manta style as well, pretty much only the recipe short at this point. And I don't know, if nothing happens for QPad for a while now, I think Enlight is going to be a really strong player now, and since Timbersaw has been catching up as well, he's getting close to, he's going to get a Bloodstone, which is actually going to be pretty late. But the main point is that the way the fights are going to develop for Flipside, unless they're starting to get some BKBs out on QPanda, I think they could be in trouble, and they are building for them. Looks like Mirana, Mithril Hammer is probably turning it into a BKB. OD, only 1,000 gold short, needs the recipe, but bottom lane Villic.
He's going to be in trouble. He will cog straight away. That's going to buy him a little bit of valuable time here as a port is inbound. He will hook shot onto Boolk. Is going to go ahead and blow a dust. Sentry going to come down as well. A lot of detection burn to try and finish off this Nyx Assassin, and they're not going to be able to pursue it. At least not quite yet. And not a sentry, an observer comes down from Flipside to give them a little bit of vision here, and they may try and bait in and engage. They are going to catch a little bit of vision of RMN. He'll take a slow. TA going to blink forward, and RMN going to take a bit of damage here. I don't know if they'll have enough to pursue him. Need to be a little careful. There is support inbound. This could very quickly erupt into a fight that Flipside don't want to take, though. Shadow
or it
Demon
could also be really good for them. Wow, these chakrams have really been on point.
Yeah, Shadow Demon not with him, though. He is way up in the top position here. He does not have a TP scroll in the inventory. So the flip side, I think they might be able to just grab this tower. He's going to cut down the trees. They'll scout out the OD, and now this could be what they were looking for. OD going to be in big trouble. He does have the Force Staff. We'll be able to scoot back to safety, and they won't pursue it. They'll just settle on that tier 1 tower. That does level out the tower count now, 3 apiece.
I think Flipside could have committed to that when they got the vision they needed in the jungle there with the trap and the nice setup. Luna was coming in from a very good position with high movement speed because of the Yasha. Would probably have been able to catch up for a Sanity's Eclipse, and I think Flipside has the better lineup for fighting around in the jungle. They simply have some really good abilities. Eclipse is amazing there. Timbersaw can do whatever he wants in the jungle with the Timber Change jumping from tree to tree like Tarzan, and with a Blink Dagger on TA as well, they kind of have really good chasing potential once they get into these fights in open space, when there's no creeps around, when there's nothing to really juke in. I think they have a very solid lineup, and I would love to see them maybe going a little bit more in and committing for these kind of fights if they get another opportunity like that.
Yeah. And now following that fight, a couple of big things have happened. Luna has now been able to grab a Manta style, Moran has grabbed a BKB, and Flipside, well, they walked by the Roche pit. I don't know if they actually scouted it out as Timbersaw was picking up his Bloodstone in the pit, but Roshan respawned just about 3 seconds after he left the pit. So Roche is back up, and that could be the focal point of this match coming up here. Flipside did grab the first Roche, pretty much uncontested. Well, I guess it was contested, but they were able to grab it. Yeah, they did contest it. I don't know why I said that. I forgot about that hook shot and all that action that unfolded. But the Bloodstone now out on Timbersaw. So those core items starting to be completed. I'm curious what TA is going to grab next. Looks like she is going to make it a Yasha. Can answer that question for me right as I post my inquiry. Also does have that Drum of Endurance. And here we go. Flipside going to move into the Roche pit. And going to look at the vision here. There's a ward up on the high ground on the other side of the river, but not going to give much intel into the pit itself. Probably going to want to scout this out with a Clockwork Rocket. No, he's actually going to throw a rocket into the mid. Does not throw it into the Roche pit. And that's going to cost him. That's going to be a free Roshan going the way of Flipside. Luna going to be the one to grab the Aegis this time instead of the TA.
I don't think QPad could have taken that fight anyway, to be completely honest. It's, once again, it's open space. It's not the best place for them. Of course, not the preferred open space for Timbersaws. There aren't too many trees to jump on, but just the impact of a Luna here, as well as the TA, they have space to chase, to lock on targets and get kills. And QPad, in order to fight for the Roshan, they would have to really go into the pit. And you don't want to do that against a Luna and a TA. That's very, very dangerous unless you have the right lineup for it. I think QPad, even if they knew they were there, they made the right call by not going in. That's what I'm going to go with here. I think that would have been too risky.
All right. It's one of those situations where it's interesting to sort of theory craft. Did they actually know or not? Was that a surprise? But like I said, Clockwork sort of using that rocket to scout something else when they were in the pit. Ruined their chance at finding the intel. Luna going to grab herself a double damager in here and go back to Ancients. It's been a while since we've seen a kill. Both sides just sitting back, continuing to farm. And I don't know, I mean, do you think it's pretty clear that Flipside have the carry advantage, undoubtedly, with the and the Luna, compared to the Mirana and the OD? And a static farm fest, is this absolutely benefiting Flipside a bit more?
I don't know. The point is, you shouldn't only look at the carries as far as late game goes. It's also about what utilities both sides have, and a hero like Clockwork can really be a big difference maker in the late game if he catches a target out for a long time and just isolates. So I think both Clockwork and Timbersaw are both very good utility heroes for the mid-late game. As far as supports go, though, oh, wait a bit, Crystal Maiden's actually going to get caught out here. We'll see if this evolves into anything. Nice hookshot as well, coming out from Billy.
Crystal Maiden is going to fall. The hookshot may secure another kill onto the Nyx Assassin. They're going to throw an arrow. It is going to connect. They'll be able to finish him off. And that's going to be a 2-for-0 exchange, the way of the Red Pandas. And the rest of Flipside will make it out. So they're going to find 2 easy kills there in the jungle. And a nice setup. The cogs there, making that kill on Nyx Assassin possible. He was vendetted, but still stuck inside those power cogs.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I wouldn't be able to call in any team with an advantage in late game here, to be honest. I think if we go late, this could go both ways. OD is a hero that can scale very well, Mirana as well. Since OD came back from the awful start he had, he can now become a factor. If he would have been locked down for like 5 or 10 more minutes without getting much, he would have been, like you said, a liability in this game. But at this point, there is definitely potential in late game for QPad. Never underestimate Visage as well in late game. This hero can deal significant amounts of damage with an Aghanim Scepter, and of course the level 3 familiar ultimate once he gets that up. So.
Yep.
And Shadow Demon, also a support hero you shouldn't forget for late game. Soul Catcher is huge when BKBs are over, and Disruption is one of those clutch abilities that can really win a whole game if used correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Visage getting closer, but still a ways off that Ag Scepter to go. Mac first has the point booster, and none of the other core pieces. So still a little ways off. It looks like Luna is going to try and transition into a Butterfly here. Does have that Eagle song to start things off. So not a bad choice. Probably going to sort of force the hand of Blue Banana to want to transition into an MKB eventually, but I like that choice here in this match for Luna. Also going to be level 16 as well, so that does mean the level 3 Eclipse, which can be quite scary as well. Actually, looking at the experience graph, Flipside do have a pretty sizable experience lead here, and they have the only 2 level 3 ultis in the game, TA as well as the Luna right now. Of course, TA is not that significant, but still they've got a level advantage on those heroes that matter.
Most certainly so, and they have the Aegis. which is a big advantage to have at this point in time, and they're going to get a tier 2 pretty much for free here. Blue Banana is going to try to deny, not going to be successful here.
Yep.
And basically just a tower pickup. I don't think QPad will get a trade here. If they just TP back, they even have the Glyph now. Flip side, could Glyph and TP heroes in. Exactly what's going to happen.
There
so
you go.
not going to forfeit anything. Maybe Timbersaw is actually going to pursue here. Nah, there's no way he can catch anyone out here. But they're going to get the birds, or at least force a resummon. Oh, he doesn't have a resummon.
Oh.
So this is pretty big if Flipside tried to get a little bit more advantage out of this.
Yeah.
200 gold for Luna, pays for the TP itself, and a minute before familiars are up. But I'm not sure if Flipside know this, but they're going to try to brute force down the mid. Still have the Aegis in tow, so would like to see them fight here as well.
Yeah, I think they're at that point where they can start to get a little bit more aggressive. Could be waiting for Luna to grab... well, double damage is certainly a good way to start off a fight if you want to get a bit more aggressive. And uh-oh, he's going to bump right into Villic. Villic going to be able to use the cogs at the high ground. TA waiting for that blink cooldown. Not going to find it, just going to move into the mid lane. And, we'll see
this is the next tower, and it just seems like QPad are not really trying to put any sort of pressure on Flipside. This is going to be another tower they just get basically for free. And Villic,
he's going to be in a really awkward position here. He is going to get Moonlight Shadowed, but it doesn't matter. There is detection out on the field. And down he goes. That's really just a free kill for Flipside. Surprised to see that. That was just awkward positioning. No other way to put it. He was out in no man's land, as you said.
Continuing in. Double damage is going to expire, but maybe this one kill is actually enough for Flipside to get an advantage. Only 30 seconds on the Aegis, though. I think they're aware.
Yep.
And probably wouldn't mind if Luna gets bursted down now. Exactly like this. This is a good play from Flipside, not using the BKB, letting them use important spells to get rid of a pretty much useless Aegis at this point.
Yep, arrow comes, only connects with a creep, so Flipside, I think they could still perhaps take a fight here. If they can bait the QPandas out of the base a little bit, they might have an ability to take it. No, they are just going to retreat, going to play it safe. None of the big cooldowns used. They'll just be happy with burning that Aegis, and Luna going to go back to farming. Very close to that butterfly now. Does have the Eagle Song as well as the Talisman of Evasion, and, well, going to be able to grab that quarterstaff here at the side shop. So maybe that's what they were waiting for before they wanted to commit to a fight. I guess they're not under super heavy pressure, though, to break that high ground at this current junction.
Yeah, there's no counter to the butterfly yet. Yeah. I am assuming that it's the next item for OD has picked up the ultimate orb, so we'll be going with Scythe of Ice for that, but she's going to have the evasion. Yeah. That's just how it is. Nobody has any sort of counter to that right now, so...
No sheepstick either.
We'll effectively be getting 35% more EHP against those physical attacks, which is, of course, a really big deal when you're playing against heroes like Mirana and OD, who can then start to miss their attacks. I don't think QPad can bring down this hero during BKB anymore. And not with this butterfly. It's too hard.
I was going to say, TA did have about 5.6k in the bank. Curious what he was going to pick up next, and that's going to be a Desolator. So TA now just going to go raw damage, and there's the butterfly. So those big damage pieces coming out for Flipside, perhaps that's what they were waiting for before they want to get too aggressive with these team fights. And also, the Timbersaw did pick up a Blade Mail, so more items coming out onto the field. Is OD close to this sheepstick here? Not super close. He's got the ultimate or about 1.3k in the bank, so... I guess if Flipside don't get aggressive, he might have enough time to farm it up before the next fight starts, but still not that close.
And the same for the MKB of Mirana. I'm assuming she wants to get MKB now with the butterfly out. She could go for a Daedalus, but I think MKB is going to be the most cost-effective choice right now. It really is the Luna that they need to try to bring down in these fights. So, would be a nice choice for Blue Banana right now. He's about 800 gold off that item right now, so we'll probably be able to get an opening. And interestingly enough, I don't know, I think Blue Banana has just been sleeping here. He's got level 3 arrow and level 17 Mirana. I don't know if he, like, forgot to skill it the 4th time, but very odd to see this come out. Now Roshan's back.
Yeah.
Flipside should not be aware of it just yet, but might be checking it out in a moment.
Yep. That was a...
Top lane, Villic.
Fast Roshan. Oh, Book gonna find him. Villic thought he was safe. TA gonna port forward, or blink forward. And that will be a very, very easy kill on the Clockwork. And now Flipside should feel free to move into the Roshan pit with Clockwork down for 50 seconds. As you mentioned, I think they still have yet to scout it. They don't know that he's up quite yet. Clockwork does not have a buyback either. So they've got a pretty big window here where the initiation power of the QPandas not going to be possible. Familiars on the high ground will scout it out. Going to give a lot of intel the way of our Radiant side. They know exactly where the positioning... or where the heroes of Flipside are positioned. They will sacrifice that top tier 2 tower. Probably the right call with Clockwork in the grave. I'm not sure that they could have contested that too easily.
Just look at this gold graph slope right now. This is really
Oh, wow.
starting to look scary. And it's simply... It's just Luna and TA innately farming faster. OD and Mirana can't completely keep up with their pace. They're doing fine, to be honest, but they can't keep up. And the objectives that Flipside are getting, they've been taking towers, they've been taking Roshan once, now they'll get it... Oh, actually twice they've taken it, now they got it the third time. And they've taken over the enemy jungle as well, have good map control out. You see 2 aggressive wards, they've got 1 down in the enemy jungle, as well as 1 aggressively placed in the mid lane. And because there's no gem available for QPanda right now, these wards are actually doing a hell of a lot of work for Flipside.
Yeah, giving a lot of that valuable intel about the map.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, let's see.
That's a little bit out of
TA.
odd position here, but
Gotta be a little careful.
that's going to be initiated on here.
You do have cheese, but that does not make you immortal. The cheese did go the way of TA, and the Aegis went the way of Luna, I believe. So they've been rotating back and forth, but Luna the right one for it. I think you mentioned, said it right in that last fight. Luna, that big target that they need to take down, and they're going to have the tools to do it. Mirana now going to have an MKB to go with that BKB, so we'll cut through the evasion of the Jesus, I'm all over the place here. Of the Luna.
Uh-oh, Visage.
Uh-oh,
Buick is going to go for it.
In trouble, yeah, they're going to blink forward. That's going to be a dead Visage.
Goodbye.
Yep, now Book,
nice
he's going to
arrow
be in
the other
trouble. He will pay for it. Familiar's going to get taken out. At least one of them will. So a 4v4 here on the field. How do Flipside want to handle this? Of course, they still have their valuable heroes up. Luna just pressuring this bottom lane. Luna did pick up a Manta.
Strong right now.
Yeah, they've got a really sizable lead. 12,000 gold now, 10,000 experience. So how's this fight going to go? Disruption on the illusion, actually. So it's illusions killing illusions here. It's madness in this bottom lane. Arrow actually going to connect on the Luna. Not going to be the longest stun. It was a pretty close one, but still will slow down the pressure from Flipside. QPandas will have an advantage here as both supports are coming back up, but Nick's going to have a pretty long trek to get back into the battle, and Visage, of course, going to be in the base right nearby. So with that, Flipside going to be forced to back up. Some of that defender's advantage coming into play right there.
And one of the problems Flipside has is that their Mechanism and Urn are on Nick's Assassin. He's got both of them, and he was dead. So if he's not there, it's hard for them to sustain a push. They need these 2 items to be able to heal off the heroes that take damage and reinitiate again on the tower. So when he's out, it's actually not just the Nyx being out, it's 2 of their really key items for breaking the base that he is carrying around. So it's pretty important for Buick to not get killed in the start, so he at least can get his mech off for his team and maybe 1 or 2 Urn charges for the siege.
Yep, and here we go. QPanda's getting aggressive. They've got the Moonlight Shadow on. Oh, a very close arrow. Going to connect with TA, but just going to be about a half a second stun. Now they're going to press forward, looking for a target. Flipside in sort of an awkward position. The Sanity's Eclipse comes out, and it's going to do a lot of damage to both the Timber and the Crystal Maiden. They're both going to be able to back up, and wow, Flipside going to be able to get out of this. All of them going to survive as they do make it back to the tower. A little bit of a missed
really
opportunity
huge
for QPandas, yeah.
So many ultimates used, and now we're going to turn around.
Oh no, Villic going to fall, and Arrow will connect with TA. She's going to take a lot of damage here. TA does not have the Aegis, only the cheese. Going to pop it straight away, and she will survive. Crystal Maiden will fall as the OD comes in. That does drop the gem. TA in a little bit of trouble, will be forced to back out. Huh? Pardon?
Top lane.
Top lane? Oh my Lanta, you're absolutely right. And Light chipping away at that top tier 3, doing more than chipping. Glyph going to be burned, and actually the Mirana just getting taken out by those bouncing glaives. Did he just burn the Eclipse? Yes, he did. Now Luna going to be in big trouble. Is going to BKB poured out. And he's going to make it. So did clear that tier 3 tower. And
if Luna was in that fight at bottom, they would have been crushed.
Yeah.
They didn't even have the Luna there. He was successfully taking a tier 3 tower on his own, so this doesn't look good for QPad. They got the CM. They got the CM for the Clockwork. That was kind of the outcome of that fight, I believe, and they used so much for it. They used 2 BKB charges. Oh yeah, they used the cheese. That's true. That's one thing going QPad's way. They used the cheese there, but
yeah.
The OD used BKB and Ultimate. We used BKB on Mirana as well, so they're starting to tick down on those. OD down to 8 seconds, Mirana down to 9, so not the end of the world by any means, but these small things are going to start adding up for a QPad that's already trailing by... These graphs are just not getting better. It's because they don't have any map control. They simply can't go out of their base without being worried, so Flipside are just farming more. They've got the entire map in their hands, and QPad right now standing 5 heroes in the base. This is not a productive way of playing the game right now. They have to find a way of getting out. Push out the lanes, do a smoke or a Mirana ult, and try to get into a fight, because this won't work.
Yeah, and over time, the Luna, as well as the TA, have just taken over and farmed. They're ahead by a huge margin on the net worth chart, though. QPad gonna go aggressive here. They know they have the gem advantage at the moment. At least they think they do. Book has another one, and they're gonna use the Moonlight Shadow to hop forward. Shadow Demon gonna fall before the fight even starts. That'll be the end of the Luna at the very beginning as well. Aegis gonna bring it right back up. Timbersaw now gonna fall, and this is sort of an awkward fight as OD has gone down. Buybacks coming out of plenty. One on the Timbersaw as well as the Shadow Demon. Now Clockwork in a little bit of trouble. It looks like Flipside will find the better of him. A dieback coming out here for the Shadow Demon now, as the rest of them are forced to retreat to the base, or retreat to the well, I suppose I should say here. Templar Assassin gonna get very aggressive, will try and man up, gonna take a fair bit of damage. Mech gonna come in, 2 gems on the Nyx Assassin, but alas, that will be the end of their bottom lane of racks. They're just gonna rotate to the mid, and I think QPandas is gonna be forced to tap out here pretty quickly.
This should be mega creeps. They have 3 heroes that can't come back for 30 seconds, and this Luna just wrecks the base. Has Satanic as well, should a fight break out. She actually has Satanic, BKB, and her ultimate ready still. But that wasn't even a fight where Luna went all in. Is going to use the Satanic now to just force away the Mirana here, and this is...
Wow. TA just laying into him, doing an absurd amount of damage here. Gonna dive the well to finish off the Mirana, and actually gonna pay for it as she gets taken out. But yeah, that's the GG well played. Mega creeps come, and Flipside will be able to do it. Interesting that it's tied up 20-20 in hero kills, but Flipside with a huge golden experience lead. One of these matches where they just had the better of the farm for so long in that game, despite getting a pretty even exchange in hero kills.
QPad just let them play their game. They lost one tower after the other, didn't really try to take fights when maybe they had the chance to, and eventually just got overpowered by the Luna and the TA in particular, who managed to, even though TA had a little bit of a rough start in the lane, dying one-on-one against Clockwork and actually getting ganked a couple of times, ended up having a really high impact on the game by just having more farm. If you look at the farm values right now, Luna 350, the highest on the Radiant is 250, so ahead by 100 CS on the top farmer of the enemy team. TA also farming more than both Mirana and OD, and then even the Timbersaw out farming the Clockwork by about 50 as well. So that's where all the gold is coming from, and the experience, of course, attributed to the later portion of the game where they won the fights as well as out farming and getting the Roshan's. So I think it's fair to say that Flipside just won by being more aggressive on the objectives. The only thing QPad really seemed to get in this game was kills. They didn't get Roshan's, they didn't get towers, and then you eventually just end up losing the game simply on raw farm.
I completely agree, my friend. Well played by Flipside. A much-deserved win following that. And that will be our third of 4 games today, guys. We got one more coming up. It's going to be Fnatic versus Super Strong Dinosaurs as our last match. We're still about 10 minutes behind, so shouldn't be too long before that match gets underway. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. I am Zyori. With me is Cinderin. And one more match coming your way.